Okay, Abusia NPP Minority Leader Honorable AfenyoMarkin NHS ne ho aba asema enye asem keto akra yedi kan breaki ne news ede amamwa eye efutu constituency eye ne illegal ways a HSE or the rainy voter wo ho no yedi kan de abrem na we ye bora eye ECG akate ne illegal debt 75 million eye Ghana cedis HSE okoye na oye board chairman sika bi afefa ne nsa ase ewo ho eno NCC ano ye de ehonsem ebrema CC an ye ba be sete eye commission of Enquiry na omode I investigate honorable eye AfenyoMarkin sa osanso ye minority leader edema NPP amanyokuna ebusuya operation recover or loot Ora led by Okujeto Ablakwa ono NHS lead these investigations we are enye asem keto akra yense momremo yenko na yenkonkoti ensema ekoso unsubscribe ya subscribe like na sanso share ma fofron so ensa into me enkabi aha POG Media so political trending stories are make waves no yenso ya jatum se de bebremo bedamase
of education for him. You'll say thank you very much for your message. Musa Abatwa in Aswase, and good morning. And I hope Aswase is well and peaceful this morning. The Finance Minister's budget presentation shows Ghana's economy is on the right track with a 1.1% primary surplus surpassing the 0.4% target. This reflects the strong leadership of President Mahama and his team who have revived the ailing economy and cleared all arrears left by the previous government. And thank you very much for your message this morning. And all of this, if care is not taken, Solo, when we look at the details of the Auditor General's report for the year 2024, every year we keep seeing the Auditor General bring out these details and some of them, the figures that tend to raise concern about what is being done to even retrieve the monies that are said to have been misappropriated. We don't hear much of the collection and even punitive measures. 86% of the almost 19 billion cedis, that's the public financial irregularities, originated from institutions under the Ministry of Energy. The scale of infractions we're seeing went up by 109% as compared to the 2023 figure. ECG underdeclared over 2.95 billion cedis in revenue. Instead of disclosing the actual collections of 11.59 billion, the company reported 8.69 billion to the Ministry of Energy and other relevant authorities. We're also seeing ECG isn't alone in the crisis. Build Power Authority is still chasing 729 million cedis in unpaid invoices from ECG. They also went to procure some loan that they defaulted on, which they had to pay 846,785 Ghana cedis on. We see that in the Energy Commission as well. There is allocation of 120,000 Ghana cedis meant for the Energy Fund. All of this, what has to be done to deal with this? And this money could make a difference in our lives.
I mean, Alfred, this is the only time I agree with a phrase that was used in the past by President Akuffo, the one who said, "Yetis Kaso." Indeed, Yetis Kaso. And ECG is indeed a crime scene.
How do you say ECG is a crime scene?
But you just read to us, 86% of what? All the infractions is coming from the ECG.
No, not just the ECG, just Gridco and others, but a chunk of it from the ECG.
ECG, yes. Now, if you just oppose this Auditor General's report to what was done by the PricewaterhouseCoopers also last year, in last year's report by PricewaterhouseCoopers, they were telling us that ECG was collecting 15 billion. They were only declaring 10 billion to us and making available 6.5 billion to the cash waterfall mechanism. Now, the reason why people will continue to do these things with impunity is that people in authority are benefiting from it. They are all part of the cabal. It's a cash cow. They go there, they enjoy it, and you will see that nobody will be prosecuted. Does it not surprise you, Alfred, that we have the National Signals Bureau guy in court over what, $7 million? But there is nobody at ECG, be it the former managing directors or the board members or any staff there facing any prosecution. Oh, yeah. Not even a single arrest.
But you go to court with evidence beyond reasonable
But
doubt.
this
You
is
can
enough
prove.
evidence. You do.
That's what the Attorney General said. Now, prosecution is not a walk in the park. I mean,
ECG, when you go there today, you have enough evidence to nail people. We cannot just be sitting down and always, the one city that we are made to pay, is it not for the inefficiency of ECG? Because if you look at the supply chain, VRA is producing, Greco is transmitting, ECG is distributing. Then the money is supposed to come from the ECG to pay the other players in the chain. Once they fail, then it affects everybody. Then the PRC, together with the government, comes back to us and say, let us go and pay for the ECG's inefficiency. Because we are not prosecuted. We are in this country that the former board chair came to tell us that indeed he knew when he was a board chair that people were actually doing connection. It's a common phenomenon. So it's common. Was he taking part? That's why he did not report it. These are matters, but now there should have been a committee of inquiry going after him to come and substantiate or expand further on the statement that he made, that he knew people. If you know people who are into connection or crime, you must report them.
you mean AfenyoMarkin?
AfenyoMarkin I'm talking about. But he made this statement and went away. And he's still your minority leader preaching towards the gospel of saintism. When indeed you have supervised one of the worst ECG tenures.
Well, he said he was in his office as board chair for just some 6 months.
6 months, let's go into detail how much was misappropriated and misapplied during that period. It will blow your mind. You don't need more months at ECG to enrich yourself. In any case, he has to be hauled before any committee of inquiry. Why did the former managing director, Mahama Dubik, left and told us that he was living on a personal reason, a position that he lobbied seriously for? No, we are not kids in this country. What about the former board chair, Kajipo? What was the reason why he left? Is it the reason why we are seeing some of these figures? We have to go into it. Because an institution that knows that the best practices in business, they say go to the sun, go to the source. This entity decided to go through Goro Boys. And the report is telling you that out of that, we lost 251 million Ghana cedis. We went through intermediaries, and so we lost. Don't forget that this was not just a mistake in business, but people actually benefited from the 251 million cedis.
I hope you're not saying that AfenyoMarkin used ECG to enrich himself, because there's no evidence to that effect.
No, what I'm saying is that we have to investigate. Once monies are missing there, anybody who was in the helm of affairs is culpable. That we have to go into it. Without doing proper investigation, we will not know. But we cannot allow this thing to go unattended to. A company that at a point had about 88 different accounts. What were they doing with it? If it is not for chop. The top is chopping, so it is trickling down. The down are chopping. When you go to ECG, all of them will tell you that any procurement or contract that they award is inflated by a factor of 150%. It's a common business practice there. That when you are buying water in town at 1 cedi, at ECG they will buy it at 1 cedi 50 pesos. Because it's a sales asset that they must milk. Look, somewhere in the report, how can they pay 75 million Ghana cedis to hotel without a contract? Who does that? Who does that? Now you go to Most, because of chop, they also, instead of going through the electronic procurement system, they said no, they push it somewhere. Why must somebody not face prosecution because of some of these things? We are not going anywhere. We are not getting anywhere. And this is the kind of administration that Zato wants to present to us as a sanctimonious administration. So if I tell you that you must forget about that administration, you have to agree with me. Because nothing seems to be working with this. Now you asked a very important question that year in and year out, we are told that some amount, portions of the amount are recoverable. How much are they able to recover from some of these irregularities? We need that data to assure ourselves. Either than that, this 18.41 billion, out of which about 15 billion is attributable to the energy sector, can solve our problems. And it's not the best of situations. It's a sad day, and it's a sad time to be a Ghanaian because of what we are seeing.
Well, and Dr. Ismail Norman, yes. because also, Professor, you made your point briefly on this matter.
Okay.
It's about recoveries and retrieval, surcharge, so as to serve as a deterrent, so that year on year we don't come and sit here and still talking about Auditor General's report capturing millions from the public sector. This is your money, essentially.
Yes. I agree with Mr. Usu and his enthusiasm for this topic. I am actually dumbfounded oftentimes by the fact that there are so huge quantum amounts of financial irregularities. The people that run this country, that are decision makers when it comes to budgeting and expenditures, are people within the age group of 40 and 60. A significant amount of this people, cohort of people, are thieves.
Oh, how
they are criminals. Oh. Because how would all this money? No, my brother. It's not the youth that are stealing. It's the adults that are stealing. They are thieves. You shouldn't be afraid to say it. Because where did the financial irregularities come from? Where did it come from? Is the youth that went to steal the money? Is the adults that are running the institutions that are stealing? They are thieves. We need to punish them.
That's where the issue is.
Yes.
So if you have to establish
if you are not stealing, where would the money go? Where would the irregularities come from? Now I'm raising my voice because I'm very angry.
I'm the one who usually does that.
Yeah. I could do that better than you.
Don't copy me.
I'm not copying you. Yes. I was once a soldier. I know how to scream.
Like giving some space.
Indeed.
I know how to scream.
But you can understand the frustration.
Yes.
And the sentiments of people.
That is why there's so much crime. Crime is taking uptick because the youth are seeing we, the adults, we, the decision makers, stealing. That is why the Auditor General can come out with specific amounts of money due to financial irregularities. Who is causing the irregularities? I think Oral needs to be a bit more active. I think we need to have more tribunals to try many of these people because they are thieves. I will never apologize for that statement, ever. Until the adults in this country stop stealing.
I'm with you.
Thank you, sir.
That's a quick one on this, briefly.
Thank you very much. And I must say with all honesty, Solomon, I agree with you on this. Perfectly. I agree. Soldier, I also agree with you perfectly on this. Okay. Because the name of the game should be deterrence. That is why I'm scandalized by this Nolly Prosecutor on Kwabena Dufo. That is why this scandalizes me. You strike oral operation, retrieve all loot. All. The operational word is all loot. Every single loot should be retrieved. And then you go back and you say, yes. I'm talking about deterrence. We have to deter people from doing this. One of the things that we don't see much in the Auditor General reports is that a lot of people are not prosecuted. What is with that people are not punished? And that's what I'm saying, that when you read something like this, a knowledge prosecutor to somebody who we are told has allegedly embezzled so much money, then you go and do a sweetheart deal with him and say, give us 60%, keep 40%. How would that deter an ECG managing director from doing the things we are talking about? How would that deter a managing director of any state company from doing that?
So what should be done?
Exactly. What should be done is that we should not weaponize the knowledge prosecutor to only punish political opponents and reward our friends. We should let the court take its natural distance. If you are sitting as an ECG boss and you now realize that, oh, a former boss of ECG has just been sentenced for this, will you do it again? If you were saying, so my point is that we shouldn't do the fact that we are using this knowledge prosecutor thing as a political tool to people is what is contributing to this. Okay. The impunity in the country is too much. Oral was supposed to be operating retrieve all loot, but by this you are not looking like you are operating conceal or conceive all loot, and it's not nice. Okay. Let's go ahead and make sure that people are punished. If you waste the public sector money, punish you, jail them, prosecute them, but don't issue a knowledge prosecutor to some people you like, and then the others you say we should prosecute them. That ain't fair.
All right, this week, right, 6 months of the economy being managed by this administration. What's your verdict?
Alfred, I've said that if we are going to benchmark the activities of this administration with what happened under the SWAL administration, we will just be fooling ourselves. I've said that we have to expunge what was done by Nana Akuffo from our lexicon, from our body politic, because it was a non-starter. To that extent, I believe that as a country, we have to give this administration a new benchmark. So whatever they are doing today is a benchmark that they must have it at the back of their minds that the Ghanaian it's not expecting them to be comparing to what they came to meet because it was nothing to write home about. Yes, if you were to compare with the junk economy, you would have done well because at the end of the day, you were doing 23.8% of inflation in December, and now you are doing about 13.7. If you were to compare it to the junk economy, your exchange rate wasn't anything to go by. Now, with about 4 months, we are in stability. If we were to compare to the junk economy, whereas we're doing a negative primary balance, now we have a surplus. And if you were to compare to the junk economy, you would realize that, as it were, the interest rate has also reduced. Now, but the focal point must be on sustainability, and as to whether or not all these things that we are saying are translating to the ordinary Ghanaian. Sure. Going into election 2024, the clarion call was that the teeming youth were looking for jobs. And to create create jobs, you don't focus on government jobs. But in this country, government is only able to provide not more than 700,000 jobs to the people. Majority of the jobs are provided by the private sector. And if you agree with me that it's the private sector that provides jobs, then you go into what would motivate or lead to more jobs being created in the private sector. And that is what my co-panelists have discussed. Interest rate, interest rate, interest rate. Alfred, I'm in the transport sector. And so when people are talking about food inflation and they are focusing on the food itself, I laugh. The transport component, if you tell me to send my trucks to Sefi Debiso, the road network alone, I wouldn't go. But if I decide to go, then I'm going to charge more. Because the cost of, as it were, parts, if you are not going to charge a compensating amount, you will be out of business. And it is the reason why some of us have been calling on a successive administration to look at the issues of interest rate critically if we want to develop this country. Come on, we are talking about Togo doing less than 5%. We are talking about Ivory Coast doing less than 5%. You say that they are from the Francophone world. Go to the English West Africa. Sierra Leone that had a junk economy is now doing 23%. How come we are doing a worse interest rate regime than Sierra Leone? It means something is not adding up. We need to revisit it. Sure. I believe that once we are able to tackle interest rate, the private sector will open up and absorb the teeming youth for them to work, to satisfy. You are paying monies for apprenticeship. Yes, after training them, where would they go? They must have jobs to do. And that is why you need the private sector to be working. So,
but the previous administration, I heard Dr. Zato made the point, I know you were listening.
Yes.
The previous administration laid the foundation for what is being experienced now. The gains that you talk about in the economy in the last 6 months is as a result of the foundation laid by
maybe Zato was talking about the Cosmocayan economy. But if it was the Ghanaian economy, an economy that we gave women, our parents' haircut, what was the foundation about it? If the economy was doing well, why would we give our mothers and fathers haircut to the extent that we were told by Dr. Michael Ejekum that 800 of his colleagues died because of that policy? There wasn't any there. Nursing allowances were not being paid. Teacher allowances were not being paid. We had a lot of arrears. You heard the president, the finance minister, tell the entire country that they have paid a lot of arrears. If there was that solid foundation, I'm sure there wouldn't be any arrears. The finance minister then just messed us up and left us to live in the US. So I do not want to agree, and I will never agree, and I stand to debate anybody who want to convince me that the actual administration did anything that was good. I have heard them say that because of the debt restructuring, when you took over the reins of government, were we in debt restructuring position? You took us there just like sending us into an inflation of 54% and bringing us back to 23% and telling me that you did well. When in fact you took over an inflation that was not more than 16%. So we don't have to go there. Don't let anybody use semantics to convince you. That is why I started by telling you that we must not benchmark, use what we experienced in the last 8 years as our benchmark. Either than that, we are not going to grow. Let us give this administration our own benchmarks. for them to follow through.
But that's what they inherited. I mean, if you're going to use that as a benchmark, then which other benchmark are we using?
Let's scrap it. I said, pretend as though there was nobody who was a president in the last 8 years.
Oh, how can we pretend? There was a president.
Oh,
That's the former president, Akuffo.
I'm sure you are going to discuss the Auditor General's report.
Yes. But there was a president. How can we pretend there was no president?
The person that we voted for told you and I that he had a covenant with God, so he expended $97 million into a hole. Is that the president you are talking to me about? Is that the president that you are talking to me about?
There was a president. I mean, I'm just...
No, the president, you can have a leader that you pretend that there wasn't a leader. But you can't have a leader who would mismanage the economy to the extent that everything in the country was in shambles. And that reflected in the referendum. Election is a referendum on your performance. That a sitting government, an incumbent administration, was given 41.7%, some even say 38%. I tend to go with a 41.75% for magnanimity's sake. But the truth of the matter is that they did not do anything serious. Go to the Ashanti region, where they voted massively for this for the actual administration. As of 2024, close to 1 million people have been moved into the poverty line. In the northern region, close to 800,000 people have been moved into the poverty line. And you ask yourself why? Because if you go to a place like the Ashanti region, they are a trading hub. It comes back to the issue of interest rates. It comes back to obnoxious taxes. You and I were in this country in 2018 when Ken Ofurata came to tell us that he was only introducing compound calculation of VAT only for a year to bridge income gap. As we speak, we are still doing compound calculation of VAT, which this administration is saying that somewhere in November they will be doing something about it. But once they have not done, I'm not interested. I want to see this country is full of no action, talk only. I want to see that implementation take place. So their yardstick must never, Alfred, for Christ's sake, must never be your yardstick. And that we must rather push this administration to be doing what is right for the people of this country. Nothing to write home about.
But Dr. Addo, you see, the banking sector, now you're going to get that because it was mentioned briefly. Look, that
Okay, abusuawe ne ensema ekoso ewo political highway so eye honorable Alexander AfenyoMarkin so no ne honsem ena ye de brem and enye ono nkwan so ena ne din epiemu ewo ECG scandal ye di kan ede bebre abremu the likes of eye Matthew Opoku Prempe Napo ene eye Dubik Mahama omunira din afinga ewo sa scandal ni ma abusia. There is more to come ayen so ye de bebremo yen say mo mbre ne beda ma sesa mo jepene kokoti sa ensem we edimai aha POG Media as political trending stories are make waves no yen so ya ja atum say ye de bebremo on subscribe like na share ma afofron so ensa into me enkabi beda ma say